that are available at the campus. And once we reopen our campuses, we'll be talking about the Student Financial Services Department and the role they play, our racial equity resources, our Office of Veteran and Military Services, what the next steps are between now and the time you start class, how to prepare, make sure you are fully prepared by the time you start class. We'll have a Q&A session, and then we'll move into a student planning tutorial for those who haven't registered yet for your summer courses, or have, but just have, some questions and want a refresh on how to, the best way to go about registering for those courses. So let me now turn it over to Convi, who's going to talk about our Student Success Department.
Thank you, Tom. Welcome everyone to the School of Business. Our Student Success team is looking forward to working with all of you throughout your academic journey. So please look out for our email communication inviting you to schedule a new student advising appointment after the first couple of weeks of your first course. As Tom mentioned, my name is Convi Philadelphia, and on behalf of the Student Success team, welcome to the School of Business. In the next few weeks, you'll gain access to the School of Business Online Advising Center in Moodle. The Advising Center is a great resource for you to obtain information to enhance your success as a student. The tool is available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and you'll find the Advising Center in your portal containing more information about resources, registration, upcoming events, workshops that we hold throughout the year, to ensure that you know how to register for classes, your commencement eligibility requirements, information about study abroad, as well as upcoming announcements and updates about what to expect for your next semesters. I encourage you to explore it once you gain access to Moodle. If we can go to the next slide, Tom. So as you begin your journey at Redlands, we're all here to support your quest for personal and professional growth. In my function as the Assistant Director of Student Success, I'll work with you as an academic advisor to provide advising assistance over the duration of your degree program. We are available to answer any questions that you have about your degree completion plan, any scheduling questions that you have, in-house tutoring opportunities for certain subjects, disability services, academic accommodations, and so forth. Our goal is to help you to learn, develop, activate, and launch your academic, personal, and professional development for the future. While the principal responsibility for academic success lies with the individual student, we're here to help you take the initiative to create opportunities for your future success. To aid you in taking charge of your academic planning, you're given a copy of the degree program planner and a student checklist. So I will go ahead and share my screen. So this is the planner that you would have received at the time of enrollment. The one that you're currently looking at is for the Bachelor's of Science in Business program, but you will have received a planner that is specific to your program. And so you'll want to make sure that you reference it because it will tell you the sequential order of classes that you should be taking with each semester. In addition, if you'll take a look at the two far right columns, it will list any prerequisites that the course requires, if applicable. So you'll need to take the classes that are listed in this column prior to taking the class that is listed in the far left column. And for your convenience, the availability of when these courses are offered in the cycle is also listed in the far right column for you right here so that you can plan out your future courses to see what your schedule will look like as you move through the program. And then what we also provided to you would be the checklist, which, let's see. And so this is the undergraduate checklist that you would also receive with your program planner. And it It allows you to check in with your advisor to see how you're going through, how you're doing in your program. It will provide you with information on what is expected of you during each semester of your program, whether you're at the beginning of your program in your first semester, throughout your program, midway, and then as you near the end of completion, near the end of your degree completion program. So this checklist is your tool to ensure that you have met all of the program requirements as you move through the program, to ensure that there are no unwanted surprises at the end when you're getting ready to apply for commencement eligibility. So if you have any questions or need another copy of this checklist, please feel free to reach out to your advisor, and we'll be more than happy to provide you with a copy or give you more guidance on how to use this tool to ensure that you are successful in your degree program. And then Tom, if you wouldn't mind sharing back the slide for the advisors. And with that said, I'd like to introduce our team of the other Assistant Directors of Student Success. We have Autumn McKiernan, who is located at Redlands Campus, Diana Guerrero, who will be located at South Coast Metro Campus, Harmony Carr, located at Temecula Campus, and Lily Dimas, who is currently filling in for our Marlene Lopez at the San Diego campus, and Win Lee, who will be located at the Riverside campus. Can you move on to the next slide, please? I know this is a lot of information, but if you don't know which advisor you should be reaching out to, please feel free to email us at fbstudentsuccess@redlands.edu. On this slide, this is the breakdown of which programs each advisor is assigned to you. So if you cannot find this information, feel free to reach out to us, email us, and you'll be connected to your assigned advisor as soon as possible. We're all looking forward to working with you, and we'll be reaching out to you soon. So we hope that you'll be able to set up a meeting with us so that we can get to know you a little bit better. And thank you for your time. Have a good evening.
Thank you, Kambi. And now I'd like to turn it over to my colleague, Sarah, to talk about our Office of Career and Professional Development.
Hi, everyone. I'm hoping I can get through my couple of slides without connection issues. The one's really bad over by my place, so crossing my fingers, but if not, Tom, if you can step in if you lose me. But my name is Sarah Morrison. I'm the Graduate Assistant for the Office of Career and Professional Development. So I was just going to kind of give you a rundown of our office and what we provide, not only during your time as a student, but also even when you're an alumni. So if you go to that next slide. So these are some of the services we offer. I feel like the ones that we most likely see students and alumni for the most often is probably resumes and cover letters, because everyone needs resumes, whether it's for internships or jobs, whatever it may be. But we also see people for interview preparation and do mock interviews for when you're ready to land those jobs. We also have lots of job search resources, so that's always something that you can come to when you're ready for that, or if you're looking for an internship during your program. We have lots of employer information and lots of like connections that we can always do, and we also do a lot of different workshops throughout every semester, including summer. So even when you're coming in during a specific time, you'll still have summer where we have different workshops and things that we host for students and alumni. And then we also host virtual sessions for students. So you can sign up Monday through Friday. Our time blocks are between 12 p.m. and 5 p.m. because it seems to be the times that work the best for students. And you can sign up at whatever your availability is. And it's a one-on-one session with our peer career educators. And so you get 35 minutes with just you and that PCE to be able to go over any of the services that we offer and just get that assistance that you may need. This is the link that we have for it, but you can also access it through our website as well. So that's always a way to access it, or you can go through Handshake as well. If you want to go to the next slide, as we go
You're freezing up, Sarah. Oh, she's gone. This may be where I step in.
But these are some of the ones.
Oh, there you
So can you hear me now?
Yeah, you're back. When you froze right when this slide came on.
Okay, sorry. Okay, so real quick, this is just kind of an example of some of the different events that we host. We pretty much do pretty similar events every single semester. So it'll be some different things like resume and CV tips, career exploration. We did a career resolutions one this semester that was new, so that was always really fun to present. And then we also had a career conference where a lot of alumni came and there was a lot of panels. We have a career expo within the fall time as well that you can always attend. So really good resources to be able to like network and find jobs. We have some in April. I'm not sure what the start date is, so you may be able to make some of these. If not, we'll definitely have more to offer you all during the summertime as well, and even through the fall and continuing through your studies. If you want to go to that last slide for me. This is our resource page. This is how you can reach us, whether it's through our website. You can email us if you need to do that. You can also access us through Handshake, and then we also have Instagram and Twitter that we're pretty good at replying pretty quickly. So you can always reach out that way if it's something pretty urgent. But we hope we see you all during your time to get you prepared for, what's after graduation.
Thank you, Sarah. Okay, next stop on the tour is the library resources. And library card is not required here. So Janelle, I'm turning it over to you.
All right, thanks, Tom. Hello, everyone. I hope you're having a good evening. To our new students, on behalf of the Armacost Library, welcome to the University of Redlands. My name is Janelle Juligay, and I am the subject librarian for accounting, business, and economics. I've been in this position for 10 years now, and I love working with URSB students. In addition to myself, there are 5 other faculty librarians who specialize in science, natural sciences. We're all here to help guide you in your search for your classes, and you will be doing research in your classes. Google will not suffice. That's why the library website exists, to put you in touch with more elevated sources your professors are going to expect you to engage with. You're going to be expected to read and respond to scholarship, as well as news, trade, and statistical resources. Most of what you'll need to be successful can be found via the library website, but it can be a little bit overwhelming because there's a lot there. So in order to quickly hone in on resources that will be most relevant to your research on organizations and how they're managed and operate, use the guide linked on the next slide. So I just want to do a quick rundown of what you can expect to find at the library website or in the physical library. And what you won't find there. So you'll notice that the left column is a lot bigger. The top thing that I would say you can expect to find is us. We are experts in research, and we're here to help you whenever you find yourself needing to do that activity. And then you'll find the resources themselves. You'll find articles, books, and you'll find scholarship, popular publications, and trade publications. You'll find case studies on companies. You'll find data on companies and industries and analysis on those units as well. And you'll find course reserves, things that are required readings for your courses. But that leads me to one major thing that you won't find at the library website, which is your textbooks. So textbooks still have to be bought through the bookstore or some online portal of your choice. And this is because textbooks are superseded so quickly, it wouldn't be possible for the library to have all of them for you all of the time. And the other thing that we don't have access to, while we do have access to a lot of case studies, we don't have access specifically to Harvard Business Review case studies. So if you see those on your syllabus, you have to go to that website and buy them yourself like you would a textbook. So those are some really kind of common things that come up, and I just want you to know those right off the bat, and just know that you can reach out to me. So I won't kind of throw a lot of information at you about how to use the website, that kind of thing right now. But when you find yourself in a moment of need, needing to do research, reach out to me. I might come visit your class. That's definitely a possibility to kind of go over a research process for a particular assignment. So you'll be seeing me. And the one last thing I just want to clarify is that your My Redlands ID and password, which you may have already, you're still waiting on, are your library ID and password. So when you're prompted to log in for access to those materials, they are one and the same. So I'll keep it short and sweet, and thank you for your time.
Thank you, Janelle. And is the main campus library open at this time for anybody in proximity to Redlands, or is?
We are not open yet.
Okay.
We are kind of in a holding pattern, kind of keeping an eye on that tier to see if we might be able to reopen over the summer. I'm sure an email will go out when that happens, and we might have limited hours. We will certainly have caps on the number of people who can come into the building.
Of course.
But I'm sure there'll be an announcement when we're open again. Good question.
Thank you,
In the
Janelle.
meantime, you can access any of our resources. You can have a book mailed to you or pick up a book behind the library. We have pickup hours. So nothing is currently off limits other than the building itself.
All right. Thank you so much. And next, I'd like to turn it over to esteemed faculty member, Dr. Alison Freyberg, for perspective from the professor and talk about all the great things that she does here at the School of Business. Allison.
Hi, thanks, Tom. It's very sweet. Hi, everybody. Welcome. Welcome to the University of Redlands. I am Alison Freiburg, and I am Professor of Communication and Cultural Studies in the School of Business. I'm a founding member of the School of Business, and I've actually been around longer than the School of Business has been existing. So there you go. I'm also the Associate Director of our international programs. The director is Professor Mike McQueen, who I'm sure you'll run into. And obviously we're grounded right now, but we're excited. We're excited to get going again when we can and when it's safe. You'll notice behind me, that's actually a picture I took in Italy a few years ago, and we have study abroad opportunities for you. We run 8 to 14-day programs where we take you abroad and you visit businesses every day and you have cultural excursions and you generally just have the time of your life. So I want you always to feel like you can join us on one of those, and you can join us on those as alumni as well. I'm going to dump right now a lot of links in the chat, and there are some videos and some information for our study abroad in particular. Above all, I invite you, find me on LinkedIn, connect with me on LinkedIn. I'll tell you all about this stuff. I'll tell you about study abroad. I'll tell you about the other 2 programs I'm going to list in a second. So next slide, please. All right, this is the Writing Lounge, and part of my faculty work is to run this webinar series. I designed it when we were so quickly moved to remote teaching. I needed a way to figure out how to do writing workshops, and so we came up with the Writing Lounge. So twice a month, I run a webinar on hello? There we go. Thank you. That was fun. So twice a month we have a webinar on a specific writing topic. We also do some professional writing stuff. Like I've done one on cover letters and a lot of stuff on presentations. You can see some of the topics there. All it is a very casual space. You come by, it's from 12 to about 12:45 on Wednesdays. You come by, I do a little presentation, it's interactive, we show our pets, we talk about what we're snacking on. I give you 3 to 5 techniques to help really conquer trouble areas in your writing. It's especially helpful if you have not been in school for a while and you're coming back, and it's also helpful because you're probably not getting at this point any writing instruction. Oh, one other thing is Janelle actually comes by regularly to do a library orientation and shows us how to use the databases. So keep looking forward to that. That's coming up. Next up in the Writing Lounge, that's next slide, please, is using sources, quoting, paraphrasing, and summarizing. In fact, all month long in the Writing Lounge, it's using sources time. And we're going to figure out, I guarantee you right now, you've all plagiarized unintentionally. We're going to figure out how to avoid doing that. Okay, so we're going to learn how to use sources well. Everyone gets a resource guide who participates in the Writing Lounge. No registration necessary, just come on by, and all you have to do is go to redlands.edu/writing lounge, and you can find out when the next webinars are, and you can see what past webinars have been, and there's ways to connect with me and all that good stuff. So I hope you come by. We have a great time, and we have alumni in there. We have, I just have guests in there. We have corporate partners in there. I have uh, corporate connections from England and Italy who have come by. It's a great place to be. So I hope you'll join us in the Writing Lounge. And the last thing I want to mention, next slide, is a little more, say a little more personal, because this is where we really talk about what it's like to be in the classroom, whether it's on WebEx or Teams, or whether it's going to be face-to-face, and you're probably going to have both as you move through our programs. One thing we are is a business school that is housed in a liberal arts university. So we are really interested in what I like to call our long skills, the skills that are going to take you through your professional development, your life skills, all those skills that help you no matter what the subject is. And these are things like how to be analytical, how to be ethical, how to be persuasive, how to think of things in a societal way, how to be collaborative, how to be integrative, how to be global. And we all know the best way to be global is by coming out and study abroad, right? How to be entrepreneurial. All of these skills are things that are going to be foundations forever. And when we're in the classroom, these are the things we're focusing on. These are the things that are the infrastructure of our curriculum. And I hope in the days ahead to work with all of you. I know for those of you in the undergraduate program, I believe I will probably see you in the summer because I'm teaching the critical analysis class. So if you're in the undergraduate program, come on over. We'll have a great time this summer learning some skills. Okay, so welcome everybody to the University of Redlands. Find me, reach out to me. I will work with you in the days ahead, in the months, in the years ahead. Once a bulldog, always a bulldog, everybody. So please reach out. Don't be shy. Okay, thanks so much. Back to you, Tom.
Thanks, Allison. Apologies for the erratic slide shuffling. I think my keyboard may be possessed, so got to take a look at that later, but thanks for bearing with me there. So next, I'd like to turn it over to colleague Angie to give you a walkthrough of our learning management software, Moodle, and that is not a typo. It is Moodle, not Noodle. So Angie, Moodle, it's all you.
Thank you, Tom. That's awesome. And hello, everyone. Thank you, Allison. I have to tell you, if you haven't taken Allison's workshops, they are life-changing. You hear that? They're life-changing. So go, definitely. And when you can go on a study abroad, definitely go. So my name is Angie Bynan. I oversee enrollment for the School of Business at the Marin campus. So I'm broadcasting to you from the Bay Area. And in this session, I'll give you an overview of Moodle. What is Moodle? Moodle is an open source learning management system. And what does that mean for you? It means that this is where all of your courses live and everything related to your courses. So I will share my screen with you to kind of walk you through an overview of how to get into Moodle. Minimize all this here. So go into your web browser and type in www.redlands.edu. I bookmark all my pages that I frequently visit, so you'll definitely want to bookmark redlands.edu. And I scroll all the way to the bottom to My Redlands. You go to My Redlands, and this automatically brought me in because I had already logged in earlier. For you as a first-time user, it's going to ask you for your credentials, your password, and your email, and that's how you would log in. It will bring you to this My Redlands portal, and you will see all these little options here, all these little links. So I've already pinned my favorite ones, the ones that I use most frequently. If you don't see Moodle when you get into My Redlands, you just go to More, click on that, and it'll bring you everything else. So, but for me, I just use these top that I have pinned. So I will go into Moodle, you click in there, and it'll bring you right into the Moodle dashboard. So right on the dashboard. And for those of you, it's open registration right now, so some of you are in that process of registering, so you won't see any courses on here. The one thing that you would see is your onboarding assessment. I'm sorry, not onboarding assessment, but your paradigm assessment. And you'll be able to see that, except for the folks that are in the MSBA program, you won't see it, but every other program, you'll be able to see that. So you'll be able to find it here on your dashboard in course overview. So let me pull you through these through this page. So you'll see course overview. You'll see my course here. Obviously, this will look different for you than it does for me. And then you can see recently accessed courses. You can toggle through here. And then if you're interested in actually looking at a Moodle tutorial by Moodle in all their updates, you can do that. But a lot of it's specific to instructors, and it doesn't really pertain that much. You won't get too much information from that as it relates to your courses. You can see a calendar here, and then any upcoming events and a timeline, which again, I haven't used it, so I'll show you what is really most pertinent. You can customize your Moodle view. So we're on this dashboard, and I like having these cards, these boxes, but some people may like to choose the list view, and it gives you your courses or anything you've taken in the list view. And of course, you can see that the completion little timeline here. If you click on this little icon here, you can star this course. So as you're looking through all of your courses and see which one you like the most, you can star it for whatever reason. I've never used that feature. And then you can remove the course from view. So as you're doing your search, you don't need that course, or if you've taken that course before, you can remove it from the view. By removing it from view, you're not removing it from the system. You cannot break the system. There's securities installed for that. So I'm going to go back to my card view, which I prefer. And then bring your attention up here to the top ribbon where it says Redlands, and then you'll see my name here and the little picture. This is all one little link. So I will click on that, and I encourage you to upload your photo here. And I'll tell you why later, why that's important. So I go to my profile. I've already uploaded my photo, but I'll show you how to do this. You can edit your profile here. And again, as Tom mentioned, I just want to remind you, all of this is available to you in a resource link. And so you don't have to be jotting all this down or taking screenshots. You scroll down in your general. If you want to put in your city and town, that's up to you. A description of you, totally up to you. And then this is where you would upload a new picture. So you go to the little paper with the earmark, and I just click add. I choose file, then it will go to my desktop, and you can see I have my photo here, AB cropped photo. I'm going to open it. And then down here, you upload your photo, upload this file. Okay, I'm not going to do that because it's the same photo. And that's how you do that. The one thing that I recommend is at the very bottom is you can make sure that you click update your profile, so everything updates all the changes that you've added. The other thing that's really cool under that photo upload is additional names. So if you have a preferred name, or you want to spell it phonetically for the instructor, if you have a difficult name to pronounce, then this is a place to do that. You can put in your interests, You see, I don't have very much in here. I didn't have time for all this. The Skype idea, there's just so much you can do, but it doesn't really pertain so much to the School of Business students. So I won't go over that, but I just wanted to show you that it's available there. Then the next most important thing is actually looking at your course and how to find your syllabus. But before I get to that, my colleague Sue had reminded me that you can actually view, if you don't see your course in here later on in your program, this little funnel, you can click here and then you can see and choose a course in progress that you want to search for. You can search for future courses, past courses, started, and again, you have that option, remove from view. Doesn't remove it from the dashboard, just removes it from viewing. So really important if you can't find your course, like if you're looking for a course for the spring and you're in the fall. Hope that makes sense. It might make sense later as you maneuver through this and kind of practice. So let's take you to the course. So I'll take you into my Competing with Analytics course. And this is nice because it's already completed and I can show you what it all looks like. The instructor, my instructor, Professor Rama, had made announcements. So I'll click into the announcements and I encourage you to be in here frequently. Whenever you can, posting, updating, the instructors will typically post in here quite frequently, once a week, maybe a couple times a week. So get in here as much as you can. You can see your syllabus through Moodle. Orientation is on here, course delivery. So it's a lot of information in this one announcement. You can toggle back here under the course name, which is announcements general, or you can just hit the back button here in the upper left-hand corner. So I'm just going to go back here. And again, introduce yourself. The instructors like doing that, especially when we're working in these synchronous or asynchronous classes. We're in this virtual setting. You can see session 1, what is due. And let me tell you why this, I'm going to bring it back to why that photo, uploading that photo is important. Because here we have discussion boards. So the first discussion is why analytics? The instructor poses a question, why analytics, based on the readings that we did. And then we have the opportunity to respond. And here's Rama, the instructor, had started a thread on why analytics, and then we just reply back to it. Why it's important to have the photo, you can see right here. If this was blank, like here, Rama didn't upload his photo, shame on Rama. It's not as personal. So upload your photo. This way, when someone's reading your feedback, they can associate it with the photo. So you can see everyone else is here, and then you can reply. So a lot of what you do in the discussion thread is you answer the question, why analytics, in this case of this course, and then you can reply to the person that had posted. Agree, disagree, have a comment, things like that. And the instructor will give you tips on how to do that. But this is where you follow the discussion thread or discussion board. Very important as you go throughout the program, you'll be using this quite a bit. So let's go back to general. And again, I just want to show you what you'll see every single week. Session 2, asynchronous and synchronous instructions are in here. Instructors will sometimes have you watch TED Talks and YouTube videos. So as you go through, I'll scroll back up and I'll show you another little fun feature. Here, your progress. On the right-hand corner, you have these little check boxes. I've checked all of mine, and it's nice. Every time I come in here and I complete a project, I watch a YouTube TED Talk, then I can just check it off. Visually, it helps me move forward in the course. You don't have to check it. Doesn't mean that you didn't do the homework. It's just it's an option. It's just like a visual thing that I really, really like this feature. So I'm going to go back to the dashboard. Okay. And that was one course, and you'll do this with every single course that you have. Your orientation on here, you can see that this orientation has been completed. I also work for the School of Education, so I have a little bit of orientation homework there. And I think that's it. In a nutshell, this is pretty much what you'll use Moodle for the most. And I'll stop sharing my screen now. It's pretty easy. I recommend once you get your login and password, then go ahead and play in Moodle. And I wish you all the best in your educational endeavors. And we're here to support you all the way. And if there's any questions that you have, always reach out to your academic advisor and your instructor, your peers, and of course, always set, I'm an alum, so always set time for yourself to take care of yourself so you can provide for your brain power, to do the homework, and also to, just to breathe through it, step away from work, from the coursework, from your readings, just so you have some time and space to kind of build that into your learning, your knowledge. But again, I wish you all the best, and share your stories, share your success stories with us. We'd love to hear your adventure, your journey on this. So Tom, I think I'll bring it back to you. Thanks, everyone.
Still here. Thanks, Angie. That was great. Fantastic run through. And we also included a video that Angie did, a link to a YouTube video that Angie did on this same tutorial. So if you want to go back and get a great run through again, you can watch the video that Angie did. And I do want to mention that for those of you who are proactive, which we love, and have registered already for your April courses, or if you're going to go in tonight or tomorrow and register, and then you log into your Moodle and you don't see the course there, don't freak out. Instructors have until the 2-week mark, 2 weeks before the first class session, to load their course into the Moodle. So even though you will may register for a course, it doesn't necessarily mean it's going to immediately appear in your Moodle. So just be patient. Again, it's the 2-week mark is the deadline for instructors to get their course loaded into Moodle. So I'm going to turn it over to myself and talk to you a little bit here. So we're making progress, everybody. Thanks for staying with us. I want to talk about our campus services team now. I know we're all remote right now and will be so through the summer. Now, our plan is to start offering in-person courses again in September. Now, that very likely won't be exactly how it was before COVID, at least in the beginning. But we do, our goal is to start offering in-person courses again at each of our campuses. So we have a campus service team that will be based, a representative at each of the locations to help support you, help support the Office of Student Success. So even though we are not back at the campuses yet, you still may get an outreach from one of the a representative from this team if they are supporting your student success, assistant director for student success, or a faculty member, maybe following up with you an outreach in regards to that support. So also, I did want to mention one of the bullet points. Whoops, now I'm going ahead too much. The last bullet point there, campus safety and parking. So as we get closer to offering classes again in person and opening up our campuses, we'll be sure to follow up with you based on which campus you will be planning to attend, to give you kind of an FAQs about the campus, the hours of operation, any parking restrictions, just, any tidbits that are you need to know about that specific campus. And here's the current team. Now, I know that not every campus location is represented here, but at the time when the time comes to reopen our campuses, we will have a representative at each location. We have 2 honor and leadership societies here at the School of Business. So the first one, Delta Mu Delta, is an academic-based honored society. It is part of our ACBSP accreditation, and it is, in short, it's based on your GPA. So the higher your GPA, if you meet a certain GPA threshold after completing so many courses in the program, you would be eligible, if you meet that threshold, to be inducted into the Delta Mu Delta Academic Honor Society. And then the second one is a leadership-based society, and this is peer nominated. So this is a society that recognizes leaders both in the classroom and in the community. There are no dues for these two honor societies, and they are lifetime memberships. So more information on both of these, again, is housed in our back to school webpage and our School of Business webpage as well. Student financial services. So I know that the financial portion of going back to school is typically the one that causes the most anxiety and does entail the most questions. So I want to spend at least a little bit of time covering this. So some resources here. First, actually, if you look at the link of the bottom, the last bullet point, the SFS/GP resources, that is a great page that, I mean, for me, really would answer or have the answer to pretty much every question that you would have about the financial process of going back to school. So that would be the financial aid part. And by financial aid, I mean student loans, grants, the billing, how we bill, what your payment options are, when payment is due, loan counseling, information on what your options are when it comes to paying back your student loan, the different types of student loans, who all your contacts are, information on outside scholarships that are available that we vetted, and it's a pretty long list. And it also gives a whole life cycle of the time that you would first submit an application for FAFSA, which is the federal application for student loans, all the way through to paying back those loans after you are completed with school. So highly, highly recommend going to that webpage. The self-service portal, so the link above that, is really your own. Once you have accepted your admission and you receive your Redlands ID, or sometimes called student ID, and password that will enable you to log into your My Redlands and your Moodle and your self-service where you can register for classes. And then here within the self-service portal, you can review the status of your financial aid. So if you've applied for financial aid, you can check the status to see if we've received your student aid report from the Department of Ed, any outstanding items. So if there's something that you missed that's still needed in order to complete your financial aid, for us to provide an award letter to show what you would be eligible to receive in loans and potentially grant money. You can review your bill. You can print off statements. You can make payments online through this portal. And if you need to enter into a payment plan, you can do so again through this portal. So I know I'm kind of working backwards here up the bullet points, but the financial aid estimator is something that your enrollment counselor, so the individual that you've been working with through the application process and up to this point, if they haven't already provided one and you're looking for basically a worksheet that outlines what your expected tuition and fees are for each billing period, and then what your estimated student loan eligibility would be during that same period, we have a worksheet that we can provide to you, which breaks all that down. So the billing is set up where there are 3 billing periods a year. There's a fall, a spring, and a summer. It's same how it aligns with how student loans are dispersed, which are done 3 times a year during those same 3 periods. And it's also how you register for classes, which will be 3 times a year, fall, spring, and summer. So you will be billed for all the courses that you will be taking within that period. So for example, we're coming up on the beginning of the summer 2021 term. So you'll be registering for all the courses that courses you'll be taking between the end of April through August. And about the first week of class of that term, the beginning of that term, you'll get your bill, and it's 30 days from that point the payment is due. And again, if you're utilizing student loans, that comes in and covers that same period. Now, the estimator will be able to show if your loan eligibility exceeds what the tuition and fees are. So that would mean a credit would be left over for the loan, which you can use for books, for instance. And then it would also show if your loan eligibility does not cover the full tuition fees. So in that case, if there's tuition fees that are left over that you would need to pay out of pocket or set up, a payment plan or get a alternative loan. So that's a very useful tool to kind of map out your entire program over each of the terms or billing periods. And check your Redlands email. So not just for notifications from the Student Financial Services Office, but from instructors as well. So please get in the habit of constantly checking your Redlands email for information from the various departments. And then your main point of contact in this office would either be Diana or Cheryl, and it's an alpha split. So last name beginning anywhere A through J would be Diana, and then L through Z is Cheryl. Racial equity resources. So I want to take a moment to talk about our racial equity resources, which you can see in the links here includes access to information about programs that are already established and then in progress initiatives that we have. So Dr. Christopher Jones is our Senior Diversity and Inclusion Officer. His contact information is included here. And he oversees all of the resources, the programs that we have in this area. So the links included on this slide and will also be provided in the chat provide comprehensive information on our policies, our practices, our organizational changes that we've done, many over the last year in respect to racial equity, and then the training and collaborative partnership initiatives, and as well as new programs and events are included within that first link. And then if you have questions about it, it's like what does diversity equity mean? So the 23 most common questions are answered about diversity, equity, and inclusion in that second link there. And then also within this department is our Black Student, Faculty, Staff, and Administrators Association. So this association is committed to representing the diverse lived experiences of the Black community at University of Redlands. So the mission statement is included here. And then for more information, you can follow us on this association on Twitter, Instagram, Linktree. There's the handle there included. You can become a member, ally, or donor. And then for new programs and events specific to this association, you can also check in the Racial Equity Resources page under the new programs and events. So definitely check that out. Veteran and military services. So I want to take a moment to recognize any and all who are in attendance who have either previously served or are currently serving in the armed forces, or if you have a loved one that has currently served or previously served. So I want to thank you for your service or your loved one's service. My father is a veteran of the Army. So here at the University of Redlands, we are proud to have a strong student population of currently serving and previously served military students. And we are a proud military-friendly school. So what does that mean? Well, I encourage you to check out, if you haven't already, our redlands.edu/military webpage, because it goes into much more detail about the resources and benefits that we have for the military affiliated students. So it's not just, tuition benefits, which we do have, but also, organization, career assistance specific to this demographic. We also provide counseling on, how to utilize your military or VA educational benefits. Also, we provide recognition to these students through different events throughout the year, including graduation. So please, any questions, the best person to contact is the director of this department, which is Monique Pope, and she is a veteran herself, as well as Erin Lee, who's also a veteran. She's our military career specialist. And I also provide support, at least on the front end, in the enrollment process for the military affiliated student. So please don't hesitate to reach out to me as well. If you have any questions, may not necessarily have the answer, but I know who will, and I can guide you in the right direction. Technology services. So we have help when help is needed in regards to tech support, software support, and this can take on many different forms. So probably the best place to start is either the tech support email or phone number or ResNet. So ResNet stands for Residential Network, and any technical related questions you have, for instance, when we do return to the campus, if you're having trouble connecting to our secured Wi-Fi network at the campus, or printing issues, things of that nature, there's good contact there. Now, also we provide, all our students are eligible to receive complimentary Microsoft Office 365. We have that for both Windows and Mac operating systems, as well as Semantic Enterprise Protection Antivirus. I'm reading that off a piece of paper so I don't get it wrong. Antivirus software as well. So Moodle Support, if you're having issues with your Moodle page, logging in, for instance, you can email the Moodle Support at redlands.edu. And then WebEx, which is what we're using right now for this presentation, is our virtual platform for the University of Redlands. So as a student, you'll have your own WebEx account. So you can schedule meetings if you want to meet with your classmates virtually. You can schedule it through your own, through your My Redlands portal. As Angie, during Angie's tutorial earlier at the beginning, she showed your main My Redlands homepage after you log in with all the different icons. And there will be one there for WebEx, which will allow you to log in and utilize your WebEx platform. But any support that you need, there's a link there as well. So in short, if you need help on the software or hardware front, we are here to support you, and we have the resources to support you and help you. So everybody has an app, right? But definitely encourage you to download the Redlands app because it's a great way to access, one, your student ID card, which you can use on your phone, and other resources, information, when you're away from your computer, for instance, and can't log into your My Redlands account. So you can get information through the Redlands app and that portal. So go to the App Store or Google Play, depending on your device, and encourage you to download that. I don't think it takes up too much memory, and obviously it's free. Okay, so now I want to get into a couple slides of just making sure that you are prepared for your first class, and also each class that comes up after your first one. So you will hit the ground running in each of these courses since they are delivered over an accelerated 8-week semester. So you can expect at a minimum some reading due the first night of class, if not reading and a short paper or just, participating in a discussion board like Angie had showed. So in order to be able to complete those pre-assignments, you need your course materials. These are posted at least 2 weeks before the start of the course in our Redlands bookstore site, where you can enter in your course information when the course starts and find the required, and it'll also list recommended books as well. So this is not intuitive, unfortunately, at least the term portion, selecting that when trying to find your course materials. So for those, for example, who are starting in our Bachelor of Science in Business degree completion program, I know you'd see from the drop-down menu, April grad 2021 term and think that's not me. Actually, it is. So for the course that's coming up, your first course starting at the end of April, the correct term to choose in order to find your required course materials is the April grad 2021. Then under the department, you'll look for the appropriate prefix of your course. So for example, in the master's programs, you'll see a lot of your courses will start with either BUAD or MGMT often. Will be the common prefixes. And then on the undergrad side, you're going to see BUSB as the common prefix. And then you'll enter the course number and the section number, which is essentially the location. Even though we're not location-based right now, you just want to make sure that the section number that you're going to register for aligns with, you're going to put in the same one in this course materials finder. And we're going to go through the registration process here shortly, so you'll kind of get a better idea of what I'm talking about when it comes to section. Anyhow, once you, some of this moving forward, when you're entering the term, it may be kind of a trial and error until you get the right one, where you then see under the department dropdown the appropriate prefix for your course. So again, you do not have to purchase the books through our bookstore unless it's a custom text, which there are very few of those. And by custom, I mean it would only be available through our Redlands bookstore. But in most cases, the required and recommended texts are going to be available on Amazon on all the common vendors that have textbooks. And you can get them, you can rent them now, you can buy them used. There's many have the ebook option available. So it's the cost on what you'll spend per course on course materials can vary quite a bit depending on what method you get the book. Again, whether you rent, buy, ebook, so forth. So you can do your price comparisons that way. But again, I can't stress enough that do not procrastinate on ordering your books. As soon as you see them posted, set reminders for yourself. I would check even a month in advance. Many times they are posted a month in advance. I mean, you can see we're still a month out approximately from the beginning of the April courses, and it looks like they're all loaded in there already. So definitely go, if you haven't already, get those books ordered. And then next, I mentioned this in the beginning, bookmark the back to school webpage, browse through it. I included a screenshot of the top of this back to school webpage. And that menu where the gray shaded topics are, which if you click on any of those, it'll provide a drop down with a lot more information. And that goes down quite a ways down the page. I can only fit so much on here. But as I said, it's a really comprehensive listing of all the resources, contact information, opportunities, and so forth that are available to you as a student, most of which we've covered here tonight. Check out the library resources that Janelle had discussed earlier. And then also for those who have to do the Peregrine assessment, you will see that in yours loaded into your summer 2021 term in your student planning. So ensure that you get that completed. And for the onboarding assessment, the back to school webpage provides more information on that. But in short, it's not a graded assessment. It doesn't impact your grades in the program or hinder your progress. The only way it does hinder your progress is if you don't do it. So you got to do it in your first semester. Otherwise, on future registration, there will be a hold put on until you get that finished. Because at the end of your program, you'll do an outbound assessment. So we'll be able to, you and us will be able to measure your progress in the skills and knowledge that we'll be covering in your specific program. So we're going to talk about registration and student planning in a moment. Official transcripts. You may be getting pinged email reminders that your application, even though you've been admitted, is incomplete because you used an unofficial transcript to go through the review process. We have to get those official transcripts or transcript before the end of your first term. Otherwise, again, there will be a hold put on your registration. So follow up with your enrollment representative you've been working with if you have questions about this or see that an official transcript is still required. And by official, that means that it has to go directly from the school that you attended to us. It can't go to you first. So you may have a sealed copy of the transcript, but unfortunately we can't, we don't consider that official. It has to go directly from the school to us. Again, any questions on that, or if you need assistance, reach out to your enrollment representative and we'll make sure that gets taken care of. As well as even if you did use official transcripts, but you had coursework in progress, for instance, at a school, we're going to need that updated transcript once you complete that coursework. For instance, if you're at a community college currently and you're taking classes this spring semester, once that's completed, we are going to need an updated transcripts. So we're going to need to get that ordered once that semester is done. The back to school webpage that I just referenced earlier does have a link to all the upcoming events for the university and the School of Business, one of which I'm going to mention here, plug in a moment. And then get your textbooks ordered. Can't stress that enough. And log into your Moodle account. As I mentioned earlier, if you're registered and you go in your Moodle and you don't see the course appearing, don't panic. Again, instructors have until the 2 weeks mark before the first class session date to get their course loaded into Moodle. But once you do see it there, make sure to print the syllabus off and review that, especially check for what is due the first night of class, so you can make sure that you're prepared accordingly. And then during your first week of class, you're going to get an email that says, hey, let's get you checked in. You're only going to have to do this one time for your entire program. But after you attend that first class session, you're going to want to follow the instructions laid out in that email and check in, say, yep, I started, I'm here, I'm off and going. Check into that, and you'll be good to go moving forward from that point on. Now, this event that I mentioned. So next Wednesday, so a week from today, from 1 to 2 p.m., we'll be hosting a really great virtual event. I know the title sounds a little like boring, yawn, Student's Guide to an Automated Future, but I've seen this in person twice, and it is eye-opening. I cannot recommend this enough. The faculty member who is leading this, I also had him as an instructor when I went through the MBA program here at Redlands, Dr. Johannes Munoz. He has done extensive research in this area of artificial intelligence and automation taking over jobs. And he's been featured on major networks, NPR, 60 Minutes. So his work has been picked up nationally. And this is really, really important for really everybody, but especially for those who are just getting started on their career, because he's gonna lay out essentially what career paths you want to avoid because of automation taking those over. I mean, it's already here, right? You just look at the Rust Belt and what's happened to the auto industry and how automation has taken over jobs that humans used to do. But I mean, he looks way into the future as areas, not just what type of jobs, but what areas of the country are going to get hit the hardest. So I'm not trying to scare the bejesus out of you to try to attend this, but again, one of the underlying things of this presentation is how important education is, because all the statistics show that those with the least education are the ones that are going to get impacted the hardest by this, by the future of automation. So it's a free event. It's an hour. It gives you a chance to also do some Q&A with this faculty member. So you can sign up at redlands.edu/automated future 2021. You should have received a couple of emails as well. One, I believe, came today, and the title is Robots Are Here. So check it out. I'll be there. I can't get enough of this instructor and the stuff that he presents on. He's so knowledgeable. So, okay, I'll shut up about that event, and then I'm going to open it up. So questions. I see a couple. Question from Caroline. How will I know if I must purchase the books? Does the instructor post it on the announcements? Great question. So going back just very quickly to here, after you input all this information for your course and then you click on the Find Materials, it will list what is required. And then if there are already recommended books, it'll list those as well. So it'll highlight, what you have to have, and then what is not required, but what's recommended. I hope that answers your question. The syllabus will outline as well what course materials are required, but the course materials on our bookstore website are typically posted much further in advance than when the syllabus for the course is posted. So that's why I really recommend getting in the habit of, a month to 3 weeks before the first class session, going on to this, to our bookstore website and looking up what your required books are for the course. Other questions, you can type it into the chat. You can unmute yourself and ask. No question is stupid, I promise. Are we really that good covering everything? And, I'm sure that more questions will come up as you get closer to the start of class. So from now until that first night of class, your primary point of contact is still the individual that you worked with through your enrollment to this point. And then once you start class, then your primary point of contact is going to be your Assistant Director of Student Success, which was covered at the beginning of this presentation, which Kambi covered. But from now until that time, you start class, don't hesitate to reach out to your enrollment representative if you have questions as you get prepared. But that back to school webpage really is a tremendous resource. And I think will provide the answers, or at least the contact information, to get you to the place that will provide the answers that you need. So if nobody has any more questions at this time, I'm going to turn it over to my colleague, good friend, Nita O'Shaven, and she's going to walk through the student planning and registration process. So if you've already done this and it's second nature for you, you are excused for the evening, and I thank you for attending. But if you have questions or haven't delved into this yet, strongly encourage you to stay on, and Anita's going to walk you through the process.
Thanks, Tom. Thanks, everybody. I'll try to be fairly quick. It's a very important process that we're going to talk about, but it's pretty intuitive. So do you want to go to the next slide, Tom? So here we are, we're back at our My Redlands, our main page, and this is really going to be a very familiar place that you're going to go for a lot of things. So you're going to go there to check your Redlands email, we hope. There is your self-service portal, which we have highlighted. Also, when you go to this self-service page, up in the corner, not self-service, when you go to this My Redlands page, up in the corner, there's a little waffle menu, which is just a tiny square with 9 dots. If you click on that, you'll see the whole Office suite that you have access to. So you can have Teams, download everything, take advantage of everything that is available to you. So just one thing that I just didn't want you to find out on your last week with us. Hey, I could have had all this Microsoft stuff. So Tom, do you want to go to self-service and we'll see? So the self-service page is another fantastic resource. You can check your bill, you can look at your grades, you can get an unofficial transcript if you need that for work, you can look at your financial aid. So this is really a place that I would encourage you to start going probably weekly until classes start, especially if you're waiting on financial aid. Once you're registered for classes, We can kind of shut that book till our next registration period, which will be in the fall. So probably sometime in August, you'll start getting emails. People will start calling, have you registered yet? Because once the registration portal opens, you want to jump in and get registered for your next term's classes. So for now, your classes starting at the end of April or early May, we're going to register for those classes. So from May to the end of June, and then you're going to register for your next class, which will be from the end of June through August. So you're always registering for 2 classes, even though you're only taking one at a time. You're going to register sort of for a whole semester. So think of this as a whole 16-week block that you want to register for. So hopefully most of you have gotten a copy of this planner that Convi showed us. And this is going to be your guide. This has all the information you need to register for your courses. And if you can just kind of stick to this roadmap, you'll be done in no time. So you'll want to click on student planning. So when you go, again, once you get to the My Redlands, you're going to log in, you're going to choose self-service, and then self-service turns into this. And from here, we're going to click on student planning. When the student planning page opens up, you're going to see 2 gray boxes. One is view your progress, and the second one, plan your degree and register for classes. That's the one you want. So you're going to click on the link that says go to plan and schedule. So once you open that up, it has a search box up in the upper right-hand corner. And that's where you're going to use these course codes that are on your planner. So it's either going to be MGMT or BUAD or BUAN if you're in the analytics program. So a 3 or 4 letter course code and then a number, 3-letter number, 3-digit number, usually starting with a 6. So put that in, no spaces, and click search. I think there's a next page, Tom. And then it will come up the classes that are available. Now, one thing that you can do, because we are online, you're not necessarily tied to the Burbank campus or the San Diego campus or the main campus. So you are kind of afforded the luxury of maybe choosing the night of the week that you want to go to school. For now, just again, because we're doing everything remotely. So I would definitely view available sections. So use that drop down and you'll see there's probably other sections of this same class, this MGMT 633 assessment for 21st century skills. There's probably a couple of those being offered. So go and look around. Actually, I'm going to back up for a minute because this is sort of a bad example. If you are in the MSOL program, there's only one of these offered. So pick the one that's for May. Don't pick June. So stick to the one in May. But there will be other courses. For example, if you're doing a human resources management or an accounting class, there would be probably more than one section for that. So feel free to open it up and look around and choose, Thursday nights, that works great for me. Select that class. And it might say it's Thursday nights in Burbank. Well, gosh, I live in Rancho Cucamonga. That's not very convenient. Well, who cares? You're doing it online. So feel free, while we kind of, again, sort of have this leeway of doing things remotely, to not necessarily be tied to a specific location. So then you're going to want to pick the section. And you might think, great, I think I registered for that class. No, not so fast. There's one more step, and that is to actually click register. So even though you've gone this far, which can seem like a little bit of an arduous process, and you're going to see a planner. Tom, if you can move to the next slide, please. So, okay, now you're going to pick the section that you want, add it to the schedule. And now the next slide. Okay. So this is more information. You can see the course night, who the instructor is. And as you get further along in the program, you know, you might see an instructor that you had in a previous class. It doesn't happen that often, but you might say, oh my gosh, I would love to have Johannes again. And he happens to be teaching another class. So, you know, there is some flexibility in being able to choose your own courses. But when we get back on campus, then you might really want to be tied to a specific campus, especially if you want to go, you know, in person to an actual campus. So add the section, and I got a little ahead of myself. So again, we're still not done. You've added it, but you haven't registered yet. So there's kind of all these things. Yep, it's been planned, got the schedule, got my little calendar here. I see that this is this is a bad example because this is a Saturday class. There's not very many Saturday classes that we have, but you'll see that this is kind of a beige colored, so kind of a yellow colored. You want to change that color to green, so kind of like a stoplight, you have red, yellow, green. So when you click register now, then that will change that calendar to green. Registered but not started, that's exactly what you want to see. So for those of you that have not registered, your enrollment person, like me or Sue or Leanne, Tom, any one of us probably have planned your first 2 or 3 classes. So they're kind of there waiting for you just to click register. That's kind of a one-time kind of a courtesy that we're doing, just to kind of help you through and not have to go through the whole process. So when student planning comes up again, though, you're on your own, but you're really not. You've got your schedule here. You can actually go and plan your whole program. If you had a few, a half hour to kind of go into student planning and you had your schedule handy and you wanted to just go ahead and knock this out. And that way, when student planning opens up every term, you can just go in and click register now. So in the very beginning, though, it's a little confusing because you're going to see, in addition to the classes that you need, there are 2 other things that are reflected in kind of this area where you see what you're going to register for. One says XARM, accounts receivable. And it looks like a class that you've actually registered for. It's nothing. Ignore it. It's something internal for us. When I see that, that's kind of my indication like, oh, hey, somebody got their login and their password. Like we've kind of created an account for you. So XARM, ignore it. The other thing that you're going to see is your onboarding assessment, which is this Peregrine exam. So onboarding assessment, which Tom talked about a little, this is something that you're going to want to get done by the end of your first class for sure. And you'll find more information in Moodle on this. And this assessment is facilitated through a third party called Peregrine. It's an academic services company. The Peregrine exam is going to cost about $38 or $40. So be prepared. Have your credit card handy when you're signing up for your Peregrine exam because you're going to want to pay for it. One thing I'm just going to tell you about the Peregrine exam. So it's 50 questions on things like business communications, business ethics, business leadership. 50 very random questions. If your degree is not in business, you're probably going to freak out. My degree is not in business. I didn't know any of these questions. So the one thing I can stress is get this thing done, move on, don't lament about how you did on it. It's really just a baseline. What do you guys know at the very beginning? And hopefully at the end, you'll do better. And that's just proof to our accrediting body that we did what we said we were going to do. We were going to teach you about business. So don't freak out. Just get it done. It's a timed test. I think you have 3 minutes per question. Again, don't get frazzled by it. So take it, get it done, move on. That's That's my advice from someone who probably dwelled on it a little longer than I should have. So, and for you MSOL org leadership people in the master's program, this is part of your 633 class. But if you're in the MBA program, I would encourage you, as soon as you see that on Moodle, carve out maybe 90 minutes when you can have some uninterrupted time, get your credit card handy and just knock it out. Sue, did you have any thoughts? I went through that quickly.
I wrote some notes quickly. If you have not registered, make sure you register, as
yeah.
deadline is next week, April 9th, 5 p.m. So if you just still don't know how to use or don't know how to utilize that program planner, make sure you connect with your enrollment counselor. They will help you. First thing first, you can only make changes during open registration. So as it gets closer to registration, you have not registered or you have not clicked registered, you left it still planning. I've seen a lot of students who forgot to hit the register button. And you say, whoa, it's after the fact, registration closed. You can still get in the class, but maybe not that night that you want, and you will accrue a $40 or more fee if you miss the deadline. So you do not want to miss the deadline. Any changes, that's why usually it's 3 weeks or 4 weeks before open registration, you'll receive an email from your admission advisor saying, start planning your courses, start figuring out what classes you need to take. If you have any waivers, work with your admission advisor, making sure that you have the right courses, that you plan the right courses. And as Anita said earlier, plan your classes over the weekend, this weekend or next weekend. When you have some time, spend 30 minutes on student planning, review your classes, all the classes, the proposed schedule that was given to you, start listing them out. And then after you're registered for your first course and you're like, you know what, I'm still not sure if I'm registered for the right course, you take a screenshot of your class registration, email it or call your admission advisor and confirm with her, are these the correct courses I'm taking for this term? They will work with you. The third one is as soon as once you start school, your first course, myself, your admission advisor, will no longer send you emails to your personal email. Everything will be sent or communicated to your Redlands email. So I do encourage you to link your Redlands email to your phone, because most of us have our smartphone with us. So make sure you link your Redlands email to your phone account. Or if not, if you're a desktop or an iPad, you can just get in the habit of daily, once or twice a day or every single week, checking your Redlands email. There's always new updated information, from registration to events to virtual events. In this case, you're probably going to get a reminder about next week's automation April 7th event. So get in the habit of always checking your Redlands email. It's a good rule of thumb. And you're going to be using your Redlands for a good 2.5 years or less, or for some of us 2 years for some of us. I wish you all the best of luck. You can do this. And again, we are all here to support you. If you get stuck, you have questions, we are here. But definitely get in a habit of connecting with your admission advisor, your academic advisor, your student success, the one that Connie spoke to you about earlier. If you don't know who your advisor is, contact one of us. We will help you. Okay?
Thank you, Sue and Anita. That was great. And I just want to mention one other thing on this screen, and apologies if you did and I missed it, but I know there's a couple of date ranges here, and don't get confused, even though it's kind of put here, I guess, to confuse you. But the date range under the instructor, that's for the full summer term period, from start and end date of the summer term. But that doesn't mean you're necessarily going to be, or it doesn't mean that you're going to be registered and taking that specific course during that time frame. So the dates, when you click on the meeting information, if you click on that, it'll drop down and provide more specifics. So that gives you the actual details on your class meeting. So you'd see, for instance, for the course reflected on this page, the actual meeting dates is that 8-week semester, which will run from, for this course example, from June 24th. Well, this is last year actually. So we're going back in time for a moment, but so last year, June 24th, 2020 through August 12th, 2020 is when that actual course was delivered. And it was on Wednesdays. The one night a week was designated for Wednesdays. So just keep that in mind. When you see that 16-week range, that does not mean that the course is going to meet for that full 16 weeks. That's just showing the full range of that whole summer term. But the normal order of things is that you would do 2 8-week courses back to back, not concurrently, but back to back over that full 16-week summer term. So the way I phrase it is 2 8-week semesters back to back within that full summer term or full fall term or full spring term. So I hope that provided a little bit of clarity and didn't confuse you more. But again, as Sue mentioned and Anita mentioned, you can reach out to us if you have questions between now and the time that class starts. And even after class starts, we are all here in the background cheering for you. We want to see you at graduation when we do return to in-person graduation. So we're here to support you for your success educationally and meeting those educational goals. And we're excited that you chose Redlands, and we're excited for you to start with us.
Tom, I have one quick thing.
Yeah.
I know it's supper time. There's one class, if you take if you select a Monday class, Memorial Day is a holiday here. So it's gonna look like you have about 4 Mondays, and then it's gonna jump to a Wednesday. I think it says like you have class on Wednesday, June 2nd, and then it's gonna jump back to Mondays. So don't be confused. That holiday kind of made it look like it just put it out of order. So if you're choosing a class that's on a Monday, May 31st is just we still want to have class that week. We're not going to have class on the 31st because we're all going to be at a barbecue, hopefully.
Yeah, good.
Without a mask. Wouldn't that be nice?
Yeah.
So just again, and if you ever, like, as all of us have said, if you have any questions, we're glad to help. And I'd much rather help, we all would, on the front end versus you getting a $40 penalty because the registration wasn't right. $40 could buy a lot of whatever.
A lot of food
Test,
for Memorial Day barbecue.
Exactly, a lot of barbecue.
Yeah.
So
yeah, thanks, Anita, for bringing that up. And yeah, if you feel like your designated night of the week is going to fall on a major holiday like July 4th or something, and in student planning it's a little confusing, the instructor should either post an announcement in the syllabus or review it the first night of class and say, hey, look, week 5 is, that falls on July 4th. We're actually going to meet on this night. So that'll get covered. So we don't meet on Thanksgiving or Memorial Day. We do meet on Labor Day, though. Actually, we're open. So just remember that. But I think all the other major holidays, if your class session falls on that holiday, it's going to get moved. So with that, I thank you all. I hope this presentation was informative, and I wish you all the best of luck on behalf of everybody here at the University of Redlands. And as Anita said, it's supper time, so let's all go eat. Thank you all.
bye, everybody. Have a good night.